Yes, and welcome to my 1,000-mile review of my Triumph 765 RS. So firstly, before we start this video, I'd appreciate you give me a like, and if you want to follow the journey of this bike, please subscribe. Update on the bike, two things. One is I have a exhaust, that's the downpipes and muffler, ordered. It's going to take roughly 3 to 4 weeks to have that delivered. Then I'm going to have it installed. I have a filter to go in, power commander to go on the bike, and then it's going to be rolling road tuned. So as I say, please subscribe if you want to see that in the future. And secondly, the bike does have a recoil. That's the front pads. They need replacing. So yeah, how am I finding the bike? I actually like it more and more every time I ride it. Obviously I was excited to get the bike and pick it up and get out on it, certainly after lockdown anyway. But I just think it's fantastic, but it isn't perfect. So I want to touch on three things really. Three things that I don't think you would pick up on initially on a test ride. So firstly, I see a lot of reviews online, some mentioning the lack of mid-range and how this 2020 version is much improved. Well, the 765 RS is much improved over the 2017-18 model. I think the mid-range is great, but I can see why some reviews do suggest that it does lack mid-range. Round town you don't really notice it, but I do find that when you are out and sort of on a, let's say, national speed limit road and you're in like 4th, 5th or 6th, sometimes it does leave you feeling like there could be a little bit more. I mean, it doesn't lack power, but I find that sometimes you come out of a long bend, a long sweeping bend, and you want to apply the power and you're in 4th or 5th, and it just seems to hold back slightly. It's like it hesitates, and I think mixed or coupled with the fact that there's a long twist of the throttle there, a long throw of the throttle, sometimes you sort of apply the power and you know it's holding back, and it doesn't give you that initial drive out of a bend. So I wonder, you know, when I change the exhaust and whatnot, I think maybe, I do wonder if the Euro 5 restrictions are holding it back, but we'll find out. The second thing I find is the traction control. Okay, so the traction control on this bike does interfere quite a bit. So I have it on traction control, well, I have it in sport mode, and that puts traction control to sport mode. But the traction control acts as obviously traction control for the rear wheel, but also anti-wheelie. So where that gets annoying is if you're on a road that's quite bumpy and you're applying the power, the bike's continuously hesitating to keep the front wheel down. It's annoying, but the thing is you want the traction control because, you know, coming out of a bend, you don't want the rear wheel spinning up obviously, or on some like gravel or whatever. Or of course when you're in the wet. I mean, I don't ride the bike in the wet. This hasn't seen a wet day. It's not seen any water. But yeah, the traction control just seems to just interfere too much. And the thing is, it's not idiot proof with the anti-wheelie. I mean, I've pulled away heavily off of, say, a set of lights. The anti-wheelie kicks in. You let go of the throttle, apply the power again, and then it goes into a wheelie. So you can actually confuse it. So it kind of leaves you with maybe a lack of confidence. Does the traction control do what it's supposed to do? I mean, I haven't had the rear wheel spin up on me or felt the traction control kick in for that purpose. I mean, these tyres are super grippy. I actually have managed to wheelie this bike out of a bend with the traction control on. So thirdly, the Quickshifter. To touch on the Quickshifter, it is really good, the Quickshifter. It's super smooth, but there are times when I find, again, it has a sweet spot, yeah? So I find that sometimes, especially in 4th, 5th and 6th, there's a pause and it's not quite smooth, like it will cut the power for a little too long. So it doesn't create a smooth drive. It's as if you click up the gear and then it's like a second pause and then the power kicks back in again. So it's done that a couple of times, but I mean 95% of the time it's fine, but I think it's, as I say, it's got a sweet spot. If you are at a certain rev range, I think the Quickshifter is superb, but I think if you get a bit lazy with it and you rely on it too much, then you will find that it's not perfect all the time. But otherwise, the bike is honestly amazing. There's very little you can put it down for. It's just a cracking bike for the road. The suspension's superb. The brakes are superb. It's really light. I mean, it's really easy to ride around town. You can be really lazy with it around town. It's super smooth. You can pull out a corner. You can go around bends at 20 mile an hour in 4th gear and just drive out of them. It does. The fueling is really good. And then of course, when you're on the open road, I don't find the lack of fairing or the upright position is bad at all. It's comfortable. I could ride it for hours. It's superb on fuel. I'm super excited to, as I mentioned, get the full exhaust system fitted and see what we can produce power-wise. So yeah, that's all for now. Let's put some more miles in it. I'm going to go out today. I'm going to go for a nice ride now. It's a lovely day for it. Thank you for watching.